have worked in the shipping industry for the past decade, and here are some of the solutions that you can use to start accepting international orders in your small business. We made a poll and up with 52 people voted in on why you're not offering international shippings, and the number one reason why people haven't offered is they don't know how. Well, here is the most simple ways if you start offering international orders and you don't know how. First of all, just start going on your website, your Instagram account or Facebook, and start putting out the tagline of accept international orders. The first step is that you have to have an international orders before you try and figure it out. You don't need to figure out how to ship to 165 countries around the world unless there's an order coming from there. So the first step is just put it up out there that you are now accepting international orders. Second step is when you have an order, go to your nearest postal office and ask for the pricing and how much it costs to ship from where you're from to that destination countries. If you're already shipping like locally, right? Locally where you're from, you kind of know how it happens, right? You need to know someone that deliver or do the service. You call them or you go to their place to drop off the package, and then that person deliver your products to the destination, the address. Same thing here. When you first started out, my number one recommendations for you is go through postal office. This is the simplest and cheapest way to you to ship out internationally. Of course, it is the longest time, so you need to factor those in when you tell the customer how long it takes to deliver. It could take up to 1.5 months, but it's an international order, so people are not expecting to get it within like 2 days, okay? A lot of the consumer in Vietnam, when they order someone as a domestic seller, they expect you can deliver within 2 hours. But not internationally. Like anywhere around the world, logistics is not that fast. So it's very normal to order it and wait for a few weeks or months to finally get your package. Start accepting and see how long it takes. Because number 3, once you understand the entire process of shipping internationally, that's when we can start looking at optimizing and looking at the cost, or do we want to optimizing the time, etc. Right? But the first thing before we deciding or improving all those customer experience is that we need to know how to deliver it first. Just start labeling on your store that you are now accepting international order. My first online store is an aquarium store when I was 10 years old. I ran it with the help of my parents. And we didn't start with shipping internationally, but we did eventually got a delivery order from Germany. The shop was in Vietnamese, so I'm assuming it's a Vietnamese overseas in Germany, and they order a pair of fish, live fish, yes. And we delivered. You can just figure it out. So you don't know who needs or wants your product until you put it out there. The second most voted reason people are sharing is the shipping is too expensive. Yes, this is when after you ship the first or 2 packaging, you realize that, it costs about like 20-30 bucks to deliver these products, and your whole package order is at $20-30 as well. The next impression is that, it costs the same amount as me selling these products for shipping. I shouldn't be selling it because people are not willing to pay that much in delivery. Yes, that is a true common sense. I think depends on the products, right? If your product is something have a high emotional values, it's a collectibles, it has emotional values for those products, then usually people don't really care about the shipping fee as much because they really want to get that items. You don't need to worry about the shipping cost too much. You just offer. If they accept it, then great. You understand that this person doesn't really care about that much of the shipping cost. So just get it out there and accept it anyway. Now, for those that are like, okay, I understand, I got the order, but I do want to be more competitive to my other store sellers because of course $20-30 shipping might be not much, but if you comparing to my order is high. So here's my trick for you. Number 1, if you're selling international orders, selling in USD. Don't sell in your local currency. Okay, if it's possible, and if you're not publishing your vibes, or if you have a website that you can change the site option and the pricing, sell in USD or in the different currency if possible, because that is when you have earned more from the order than your regular local orders. Number 2 is that how to mitigate the high shipping costs. There's 2 ways you can do it. Number one is you can make your international order pricing a little bit higher so that in your selling price, there's already a little bit of the shipping cost. So then, let's say if you're selling 2 items, a package of 2 items, value at $20, and your shipping cost is another $20. Let's say now you add in $5 each in these items. So now each item is $15, so it's total is $30. But that means that your shipping price now is $10 for that same package. Now you can see that it's the same amount of money that you're gonna collect from the client, but you can play around where you're adding it or how you charge it so that the customer feel better, a better psychology effects on them. Plus, if you're doing that way, you can also offer an upselling offer so that if they cross a certain amount of value orders, then they get a free shipping because all of your shipping costs is already covered in a big order amount. There you go. That's how you mitigate a high shipping cost for your items. Okay, let's look on the other comments. Those are the most voted reason why online stores are not offering international shipping yet. The third option that we show here, there are a few people that voted they don't have a website yet to offer. My friend, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have Thread now, right? You have YouTube. If all those channels has been accepting and you are able to get clients from, the easiest next step for you is add in the tagline of accepting international orders. Just from there, you don't need a fancy website to start offering international orders. By starting opening the possibility, you will soon see potential opportunity coming in because now you open the gate. Another pro tip for you, okay? If you are selling on e-commerce platforms such as Shopee, Lazada, Amazon, etc., if you're already selling on those e-commerce platforms, the next easiest step for you to start selling and accepting international order is to check if that specific platform have a overseas platform in another country. So example, I'm here in South Asia and we have Shopee, Lazada, and TikTok Shop are the platforms that are selling within at least 6 to 7 different markets within South Asia. If you're already selling in, let's say, Shopee, Singapore, the easiest next step for you is to try to replicate that same operation system going to sell in Shopee, Thailand. Go on your e-commerce platform, check with them if they have a foreign seller policy for your country, and if they do, sign on that program. They will be the one handle all the international shipping, all the logistic, all the shipping part, and basically you just replicate what you're doing in your market to another account. Easy peasy. If they don't have a foreign seller account, how do you bypass that? Here's a pro tip for you. You can look for a service called Merchant on Record. Basically, what Merchant on Record is a local entity who will be signing up on this platform for your seller accounts. My company, GL Solution, happens to know a few partners who do this in South Asia. If you need that kind of help, make sure to go into the description box and yet contact us. We'll give you the insight on how to get it done. Let's look on to the other reason that people comment on my thread. So this fashion store brand said that international shipping usually have to go with prepay 100% plus a very long shipping times. She tried it using the postal office service to go to the US. It took 1.5 months to get there. Not all international customer would believe us and trust us for 100% prepay. So the risk is high if there's some problem with the cargo. That's why she decided just to sell locally. Now, I have a few options for you, okay, my friend? So there's 2 parts of your problem. The first thing is that the shipping is long. Yes, the shipping, if you're going for the cheapest option, which is the postal office, will be the longest. It will take you at least 1.5 months, or if you're lucky, it'll be shorter, 2 weeks to a month to get your products delivered. Now, if you want to improve that timeline, there will be other options which are considered, like some of them are like express courier, very popular ones like DHL, FedEx, like UPS. Usually those are the ones that gonna give you fast delivery. In a much shorter time frame, you will have a tracking record. The problem is that it's gonna be much more expensive. So you have to decide if your product value is high enough to cover the cost of these express courier, or is that something that your customer really care about? If they are okay with waiting for 1.5 months, then I think this is where you manage your expectations, right? You tell them that yes, from here to there, it will be 1.5 months. If they're okay with it and they on board with it, you don't need to try harder to optimize the service until you get to a larger scale. Now, the second equation of the problem is the prepay 100%. Okay, how do you build trust between the seller and the buyers? Because not all buyers will trust to pay 100% to you upfront. This is where all the payment gateway out there to solve, right? This problem has been a problem anywhere, all around the world for a long time. So you think that there's no actual solutions to solve this? My friend, there are so many options out there. All you need to do is start researching on how to solve this, okay? The simple keyword for you here is escrow service. Basically, escrow means that the buyer will prepay the products, but instead of it going directly into your account, it will go to a third-party account called escrow, which also could be like the payment gateway, and the money is kept there. When you receive that confirmations that yes, they are already sent the money out, what you will do is that you will start shipping your products going to their destination. And after that, usually the traditional escrow, what that means is when the products get there delivered, then the buyer will confirm they received the delivery, or you will upload a delivery proof onto the platform, and yeah, you get their monthly release. Different payment gateway will give you different options for escrow. Because of this question I researched, and I know that for PayPal, for example, you will pay directly to PayPal and they will release automatically after 21 days. You will receive money before the actual product is gonna be delivered. But if there's any problem with the shipments, the customer has the right to complain or dispute within 180 days. That's option number one. The second option is, I think, Payoneer Escrow also has something similar with the traditional escrow policy. So here you go. That's how you're gonna solve the two problem that you have and start shipping internationally. Right after making this video, I had a chance to talk with the PayPal team, and they were very generous in offering a special deal for those that want to sign up for a new PayPal business account. For the first 3 months, you will get a 10% rebate on all PayPal's transaction fee. This is a very special offer for new PayPal business account and for sellers who sign up through our links. So check the link right in the description box to secure this offer. Another comment is saying that depends on the cargo value. Sometimes the customer will have to pay tax on the shipments, and if the customer don't want to pay tax on it, then you have to refund it. So it takes a lot of time and effort to get the shipment over and come back. This is a customer experience issue, okay? Legally, you will always have to pay tax. Unless your cargo is under a certain value, then it is tax-free. But if it's above certain threshold, there will always tax to be paid. This is just an issue of who's gonna be the one fronting that money. Is it from you, the seller, or from the buyer themselves when they receive the cargo? Now, for e-commerce, I think the seamless experience that we always try and aim for is the customer just order from your website or your store, and then they receive the package on their doorstep. So, in order to give customer the same seamless experience as they shop for a local order, what you do is that you will need to calculate the tax on top of your shipping fee when you quote this client, okay? You don't need to skim it, just check, easy. You just look up the country that the customer want to deliver that package on. You search for de minimis threshold for that country. And what that is the threshold of when a package is gonna be taxed. So for example, if the de minimis threshold is $50, that means if your orders is above $50, then your package will be taxed accordingly to the countries. With a simple search, you can easily do that and quote your client with tax included in your fees. So what happened after the customer agreed to that fee? Then you will be collecting that fee from them, and you go to your delivery service provider and you tell them that you will pay tax upfront. All the logistics service provider is happy to collect tax on your behalf. Okay, as long as you mention it, then they will able to handle it for you. So just tell them that you will pay tax upfront, let them calculate it, or you calculate themselves and pay it upfront. That way, you will able to ensure a seamless delivery experience cross-border. Another person, I like this question. This person said, it's so many issues. As a small business, we're already have to dealing with it in corporate our company, tax and paperwork. If we start looking into shipping, and we have to now consider what are the costs of the shipping and what are the timeline to ship to. As a small business, it is not very viable for me to do it because I am thin in resource and people. Very understandable, and I cannot optimize as good as companies who have factories or big corporations, and therefore it's not for me. That is a very good problem and reason why you don't ship internationally. But let me tell you something. As a small business, I am assuming you want to become eventually a mid-sized to big corporation eventually, or at least sustainable, and you can live off the business, right? Would you prefer to work on it for 5 years before it becomes sustainable, or would you prefer to get it done and start being sustainable within 2 to 3 years, which is half the time? If your answer is the second version, that you prefer to get a viable business that can sustain yourself within 2 years, 3 years, then the answer for you is you have to start looking at international orders as soon as possible, not when you feel ready. Because currency arbitrage is a thing. Like taking money in USD form will give you much higher leverage and income and value from the same order comparing to a local order. That's why countries export. They want to get revenue in USD and spend in their local currency. That's the ultimate hack. And that's why so many companies want to sell globally. If you have a small business and you want to bill it, let's say, to $10,000 a month, is it gonna be easier doing that within your local market or start selling overseas? My bet is gonna be the second one. Start selling overseas, because that $10,000 in USD is much more achievable when you start selling in USD. If you're selling in your local currency, you have to deal with inflation and the currency difference. Eventually, you will have to spend more effort to gain the same $10,000. Is all I'm saying. Doing your business will always have problems, will always have admin stuff that you have to do, always have tax, and always have those paperwork. But if you do the same effort for a much higher outcome, would you prefer to do that? If the answer is yes, then start looking into international shipping. It's not that hard to start small and then scale it up from there. Okay, I also asked the same questions on LinkedIn, and this is what people said. Shipping food products internationally, especially refrigerated and frozen B2C, is extremely burdensome. Customer support for international customers can be also quite an obstacle, so especially for small vendors. Absolutely agree. If you're shipping food product internationally and you are a small one, I think you should try to prioritize stabilized products like shelf-made products, regular temperature storage products, instead of choosing refrigerated or frozen B2C. It is extremely difficult because, number one, you have to deal with a much higher logistic cost simply because you need refrigerated or frozen transport, trucking, storage, etc. You also need to find a specialized logistic provider who can do refrigerated and frozen. If you do those kind of products, I would say maybe you start or do another R&D, or if you already have a line of products that doesn't need these kind of like storage, go with the other option first, like pills, their packaged food, powders, supplements, regular packaged food is something that can be done B2C overseas. Otherwise, refrigerated frozen, I think you definitely need to reach a certain scale of business, at least very good within your local market before thinking of going overseas. Simply because of how challenging it will be for you to deliver that product overseas and maintain the quality. The second option is customer support for international customer can be quite an obstacle, especially for small vendors. Maybe. I think customer support for international customer, the biggest problem is language barriers, right? You will receive inquiries in different language that you might not be frequent and understand the culture to support. But with technology nowadays, with AI, like with AI voiceover, you can easily translate a conversation and make sure that it's culturally correct in that context. You can easily plug in into AI as, hey, I have this customer from, let's say, Japan. They are asking these questions, and as a brand in e-commerce customer service, what can I do to answer them perfectly? My tip for you is that you can start a project in ChatGPT and Claude. And basically what you do is that you plug in all the customer service policy that you have in your local language. And when there is a customer asking these problem, you go in there and say, hey, review my customer service policy and help me answer this problem in Japanese, in Spanish, or whatever language that they need help with. The second way, even for you to optimize it better, is you AI voiceover. So if you have advertisement, you have videos, you have customer service video, or how to use manual in your local language, you can easily now do AI voiceover. You don't even need to redo the productions to use the same materials. Tech support, I think, is not gonna be a big problem for you personally. Explore some technology solutions. Very simple one like AI can now solve this big issue. That is a wrap. I hope this video gives you some idea on how to start accepting international orders for your online store. If you like these kind of videos, make sure to let me know in the comments, or even drop more of the challenges that you feel you're facing in your e-commerce journey, and I'll make another videos on this topic. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.